Greetings and welcome to St. Augustine, Florida for a Division II matchup, a Peach Belt Conference matchup between the 2-10 Alabama Huntsville Chargers and the 10-1 Flagler College Saints. I am Ray Carnicelli. Follow me on X at Lax904, bringing you the action tonight. Couple of keys to the game. When you look at the face-offs, Hunter Coleman comes in for Alabama at 57%. He should be taking the majority of the draws for the Chargers. Matt Matrega at 40%. But don't let that stat fool you. Many times this season, Flagler's lost the initial draw but won the ball back. So we'll keep an eye on those second chance possessions off of the face-off. In the goalie battle tonight, starting for Flagler, number 81, Stevens, 52% save percentage, less than 9 goals against average, and Peer is at 50%. Tommy Peer with a 14.2 goals against average. Throw out that Huntsville record, and let's get ready to battle. There's Gordon Ogden, comes up with that face-off, races into the offensive end. He's got an alley. He's going to flip it off to Nyberg, and Flagler is in business on offense. Nyberg works it around to Burton. Luke Burton carries up towards the midfield line. And we've got the Moore line. It's Griffin Moore, joined by Jack Pilla. Back around to Ben Nyberg. Burton at X. Right-handed cradle, setting up that left hand, push to the goal line. Up top to Nyberg. Just patiently testing and probing. Here comes Moore. One more pass, that's Douglas. There's a little hitch, shot off the side of the net and wide, and there's a late hit penalty. McDonald took a late hit, so we're going to see a man-up opportunity for Flagler. In Huntsville's last game versus Indianapolis, they were man down 6 times, and they gave up 6 goals. So keep an eye on this extra man opportunity. Pretty certain Coach Duncan knows about this, and Flagler's been pretty strong in the extra man. So they'll get their first chance. And I don't see number 1 in the penalty box for Huntsville. Just working an open set right now with Nyberg up top. McDonald at the left goal line. A 2-2-2. No one on the crease at this point. There's a cutter down through. That was Douglas. McDonald to Howard. Looking for that backside skip. Nyberg steps into one, shot wide. Backed up by Luke Burton. 31 seconds in the penalty. Keep an eye on Douglas on the crease. A lot of motion. Back across to Wilson. 20 on the penalty and the shot clock. There's a pass down low. Shot, save. And here comes Huntsville. So Flagler got the look they wanted on the crease. Burton was patient, tried to get the goalie moving, but Peer was there to make the save. And they get across the midfield line, and the penalty is released. So nice job by the Chargers. And they are on offense. Henninger got the short stick, trying to get up over the top. Will Ford gets to the front, still got it, shot, score! Will Ford, number 14, with the goal, unassisted, got in front of the cage. The check landed, but he powered through, finished his shot off, and bounced it into the back of the net. So Huntsville stopped the penalty, came down and scored. Dream start for the Chargers. Matrega and Coleman. Coleman pops it forward, wins it himself, fakes the shot. Ball is loose. Kicked out of bounds, off of White. It's going to stay blue ball. Back up top, that's Henninger. Joined by Klosterman. Back over to Nobles. Nobles dodges on the short stick. The switch off comes. Nice defense by Flagler. Good helping defense. Trying to get up underneath. He's got room. He's in the crease. Crease violation. And that's a late shot. See if the referee wants to throw the flag, and he does. So that's a delay of game. See if they call it delay of game or unsportsmanlike. It was well after the whistle. There's the referee, Paul Ciccio. My teammate back in the late 80s at Cortland State. See how Paul's hand signals look today. "30-second delay of game penalty, just as important, no face-off. So Nyberg's going to take it at the midfield line. The lefty comes in with 19 goals and 2 assists on the season. Transfer from Cortland as well. Red Dragon reunion here. There's Nyberg. Steps into one. Shot save. Peer makes easy work of the Wilson shot. Long looping overpass out of bounds. So another turnover, and that's been the Achilles heel of the Chargers this season. A lot of turnovers. There's a shot just off the mark. Nyberg got to the front, had a good look at it. So we've seen Flagler with 3 good looks. Unable to capitalize here early in the first quarter. Bo Howard to Douglas. And skips it past Burton. It's a fight for the ball, and it goes out of bounds off of White. So an unforced error. There was no trouble, but Flagler couldn't make the connection. 20 seconds to get it across the midfield line. Peer to the near side, trying to congest things. Man free into the offensive end. Successful clear. And Huntsville has the ball. Colin Kelly. Offsides behind the play. So it's a turnover. And here comes Flagler. Across to McDonald. Look for early offense. Tried to feed. Gets through. Nyberg shot. Score! The look was to Gruschel. Couldn't handle it on the crease, but Nyberg was there to finish it. So opportunistic ground ball in front of the cage on that errant pass. And Flagler ties it up with 10:43 to go. All even at the face-offs. Now we have a violation against Huntsville. It's going to be Flagler ball. Bateman's going to start. Got to give him 5 yards. There you go. Back it off. Bateman up near the midfield line. Over to Pilla. Douglas controls. Carries it back. Dishes it off to Burton behind the cage. Trying to open up some space underneath as Burton pushes the goal line. Back up to Nyberg. Cross to Pilla. McDonald gets the switch off. The double team comes. Can they keep it moving? That's a takeaway. Caused turnover for Huntsville. Now the ball's back on the ground. Nice job by Nyberg. Just tapped it to space and picked it up himself. So good second chance offense for Flagler, extending that possession. Griffin Moore dodging on the short stick, right-handed sweep. Back to Pilla. There's a feed to the crease, shot, score! What a goal by Griffin Moore on the assist by Jack Pilla. So Pilla drew some attention, passed it down low to Griffin Moore, who had his back to the goal and pretty much caught it and shot it in one motion. And Flagler, with some aggressive ground ball work on offense, pays it off. And they have a 2-1 lead. Thomas out there for Huntsville this time. Matrega for Flagler. Referees get them set. Looked like Matrego was going to come up with it initially, and the check comes in. Still no possession. Huntsville ball. Pushing into the offensive end. Triple team. Trying to force that pass backwards. This is where Flagler likes to bring a lot of pressure. Across the midfield line, a successful clear. Way to handle the pressure. The Chargers were at one point contained in a triple team, broke free, got the ball across the midfield line. Now they're able to set up their offense. Hillman. Down that left alley, shot, sails it high over the cage. Never threatening. Back in on offense, it's Aiello. Moving pick. So that's a turnover for the Chargers. They got that moving pick, illegal screen, interference, however you want to say it. Grusholt handling under pressure, gets the pass across. Great look. And Flagler back on offense after that defensive stop. Now there's a flag down. Free possession for Flagler. Garrett Moore. They've got 7 defenders on there. Might as well stay on and got an extra slide. They will serve the penalty unless Flagler scores. Garrett Moore under pressure. Racing, gets his left hand to the front. Powers to the front, shot, score! Garrett Moore just outran his defender. Did an amazing job of protecting his stick back to the left hand. Bounced it past the goalie Pierre, and Flagler, playing 6-on-7 offense, pays it off, and it's 3-1, Flagler Saints. High-scoring affair last year when Huntsville came to St. Augustine and came away with a 17-15 road victory. And it was apparent that the Flagler Saints needed no reminder. Pre-game walking through, they know that despite this record, the Chargers have some offensive potential. Looked like the ball got hung up in the stick. Oh, they're actually going to call a hold. So Coleman, number 7, wins the faceoff for Huntsville. Klosterman, covered by Hoosier, down that right alley. Their slide comes, ball is loose, errant pass. Grusholt comes up with the ground ball. They've got a 5-on-4 break. It's actually a 6-on-4. Got to keep their spacing. There's a nice skip pass. Hitch, shot, save. Great opportunity for Flagler. They had the odd man rush. Shot clock reset. We've got a player down. A little bit of chaos. Flagler with a good look on that skip pass. Grusholt down low to Burton, but the goalie Pierre came up huge. So there's an injury on the field. That was the stoppage. Teams are even. 2, 4, 5. Need one more defender in blue. There they go. Flagler back on offense. Ian Plott draws the long pole. Working that dodge through X. Looking for that skip pass back through. Back to Garrett Moore. And Flagler throws it away. So unforced error for Flagler. Just couldn't make another exchange. That's twice so far today. Keep an eye on this Flagler's aggressive ride. Pierre controls. Back on the near side, it's Galinsky. Across the midfield line, successful clear. Nate Burt. Hillman, covered by Vinorski. Getting help through the substitution area. Huntsville with a bounce pass, and Flagler's there, trying to keep it in bounds on defense, throws it right back to Blue. Here comes Craig. He's got a half a step. Defense hedging. Craig, one more pass. Around the top side. That's Ford. Backside look, it's intercepted. Scheckenbach causes that turnover on the interception. Here comes Grusholt. Odd man rush. Fake. Down low. One pass shot. Bounces it wide. Ian Plott had the look. Looked like the ball got hung up in his stick a little bit. Backed up by Flagler. McDonald and Douglas have a catch. Jack Pilla. Back to Moore. Moore with the left-handed shot high. Out of bounds. Backed up by Flagler. 5:35 to go in the first quarter. Flagler 3. Huntsville 1. Plott momentarily had it put on the ground, but Flagler comes up with it. Jack Pilla. Going to have a run at the short stick. Running that 1-4-1 now. Back to the right hand. Moore feeds it down low. Shot deflected. Plott once again. They got the shot clock reset, so no urgency here. Griffin Moore to Douglas. Back to Griffin Moore. Speedy right-hander. Keeps it in his left hand. Back to the right. Shot wide. Ian Plott's there to keep the possession to Flagler. 43 on the shot clock. Plott races around that right goal line. Bounces it up top. Douglas. Shot. Oh, that was McDonald. Excuse me. Shot was saved by Pierre. Out and in. So the goalie, once he leaves the crease, cannot step back in the crease. So that's a turnover for the Chargers. And once again, Flagler extends their possession. Plott to Moore. Up to Douglas. Around to Pilla. Everyone gets a touch. Nyberg around the horn to Plott. No one on the crease at this point. We'll see where the cut comes from. Nyberg positions himself in front. Douglas, locked, loaded, shot, score! Little bit of a screen. Great job by Douglas to shoot through the screen. And Douglas, who came into the game with 13 goals, adds to his season total and gives Flagler a 4-1 lead. We had a good angle at it as Douglas shot for that upper right corner, and it looked like the goalie was momentarily screened just enough to lose track of it. And with the heat that Douglas put on that shot, Pierre was unable to regroup. 4-1, Flagler on top. And that's a face-off win. Shot high, so Coleman's come in and won the last couple of face-offs for the Chargers. Aiello over to Ford. Help comes early. Flagler, aggressive slides on defense. Trusting that second slide and the regroup on the back. There's Aiello. Going to take the short stick. Bounces up top. Time, space, shot, save! Stevens, acrobatic save. Looking for Grusholt. Very patient. Plays the bounce perfectly. Loses his defender in the ride. Now he's going to flip it back. And Collins is going to pump the brakes and now step on the gas. Collins into the offensive end. Over to Burton. He had an itchy trigger finger, but backed off. Back over to Bo Howard. And now Flagler resets the offense. Here comes Dylan Wilson out of the box. They've got numbers out of the substitution. Burton, hitch, backside skip. Howard thinks twice about that pass into traffic. Now Dylan Wilson's going to set it up. Back behind the goal to Burton. Pushing that left goal line. He's got a little room, shoots it wide. 7 seconds on the shot clock. McDonald knows it's a short shot clock. Feeds down low. Oh, big hit. D'Ambrosi took one for the team there. It's going to call play on. So they're going to say that it was failure to advance, shot clock violation. Huntsville trails 4-1, approaching the 2-minute mark of quarter number 1. Fabrizio under heavy pressure. Lyles throwing the check, staying step for step with Fabrizio, the leading scorer for the Chargers. Now Hillman has a little bit of room. Hoosier trying to lift that bottom hand. Hillman and Hoosier. Hillman right-handed cradle, trying to force him left. Here comes help from Scheckenbach. Good recovery by the Flagler defense. Through that switch. Aiello, he's got the short stick matchup now. Backside look, time, space, shot, score! Goal by Fabrizio, number 9 on the goal. Beats Steven to the short side, and great possession for the Chargers. It's 4-2. Flagler's been early to switch and early to slide, and could hear Coach Duncan reiterating the scouting report that don't go early from 9. He's their biggest threat, and McDonald tries to answer back. Good possession shot as it goes well wide, but gives Flagler an opportunity to get their first team offense back out there. Seeing Leonard running on the offense. He's been a two-way midi for most of the season. Leonard controls it. Back to Garrett Moore. Andrew Carter out there now as well. Burton shot, trapped on the goal line, and nice save by Pierre. Smothers it, almost trickled through, but Pierre maintains his composure. Now here's an unsettled situation. Nyberg, ground ball, saved by Pierre. Nyberg 1-on-0, and ball is back on the ground. Lots of players slipping today. Lots of turnovers today as well. See if Flagler decides to push it or try to regroup. Nyberg had that loose ball, did a nice job coming up with the ground ball. McDonald going early. Burton low angle shot, score! That time Luke Burton hammers it home on the assist from Trace McDonald. So in a matter of about 30 seconds, we had, I think, 4 turnovers between both teams. But finally, Luke Burton hammers it home with authority. 5-2 with 12.4 seconds in quarter number 1. Matt Matrega and Hunter Coleman out there at the face-off spot. Flagler misses that first-time ground ball. Grushel back up to Matrega. Nice job pushing it to space, running it down. And time expires. Good face-off win and team ground ball work for the Flagler Saints. And we're at the end of 1 quarter of play from St. Augustine. Our score is Flagler 5, Huntsville 2. Back for the start of the second quarter with Flagler College leading Alabama Huntsville 5-2. Matrega and Coleman battling it out at the face-off spot. Slipping and sliding. I promise you it's dry and windy and sunny, partly sunny today. There's no ice or rain on the field. It looks like it the way both teams are sliding around. Huntsville gets the possession. Klosterman and Henninger. Joined by Nobles. Nobles draws pressure. Lyles put a little shoulder into him. Klosterman, checks are flying. Klosterman maintains possession. Trying to look through that skip-up pass out top, and the patient defense of Flagler forces a turnover, and it's Flagler ball. Stevens running the clear. Back to Grusholt. One more pass to Scheckenbach. Now he's going to loop it across. Successful clear for Flagler. McDonald. Back behind the goal to Burton. Excuse me, that's Nyberg. Now it's Burton. Up top to Pilla. Moore races in off the substitution, but nice job by Huntsville to get back and regroup on defense. 32 on the shot clock as Burton pushes that left goal line. Head always up, looking for that through pass. Back to Pilla, around to Moore. Griffin Moore, working it back through X. 20 on the shot clock. McDonald off of that high screen, got the switch up, so McDonald's got the short stick now. See if they clear out and create some space for McDonald. They do. 6 on the shot clock. Feed down low. Now they're just going to ice it. So great defensive effort to start the second quarter by Alabama Huntsville. No good looks at the cage. Took Flagler just under 20 seconds to get it across, so using a lot of that shot clock in the clearing game. Here comes Hillman on offense. Goal scorers in the first quarter, Will Ford and Pete Fabrizio for Huntsville. Nyberg, Griffin Moore, Garrett Moore, Ty Douglas for Flagler, along with Luke Burton. Here comes Kelly. Covered by Collins. Hillman trying to get across to that right hand. Feigning that left hand, but stays top side to the right. And there's the trail check. Missed ground ball. And Fabrizio comes up with it. So Flagler, nice job putting the ball on the ground, but got to come up with that ground ball. 22 on the shot clock. Once that short stick's on Fabrizio, Flagler's coming early. Here comes Craig. Craig, low angle shot to the far side, score! Stevens was in perfect position, hugging that pipe. But a nice look. Great placement around the goalie, around the big goalie to the far side, just inside the pipe, and it's 5-3. It's a 2-goal game. Coleman comes up with it himself. Now the ball's on the ground. Ogden gets that ground ball up to Bateman. So another second chance on those face-offs for Flagler. Flagler outshot Huntsville in the first quarter 19-5. So here comes Flagler with the 2-goal lead. There's room for McDonald. Feeds to the crease. Shot, score! McDonald to Burton with the twister. Great hands by Luke Burton. He caught that in tight and just got his hands crossed enough on that twister on the doorstep, and Flagler back up by 3, 6-3. Precision passing from Trace McDonald and Luke Burton with the tight quarter finish. Mitchell Lynch takes it himself. Face-off win for Flagler. Flagler calls the timeout just as Lynch got a little bit of space, but better safe than sorry. So Flagler goes ahead and calls the timeout. We're going to go ahead and take a break with 10:52 remaining in the first half. Our score is Flagler 6, Alabama Huntsville 3. Coming out of that timeout, Flagler possession leading Alabama Huntsville 6-3. Douglas works it behind to Burton. Around to Pilla. Back to Griffin Moore. That right-handed sweep. Back to McDonald. Just a high weave. McDonald feeds to the crease. Good slide. Comes in. Ground ball. Still under contention. Nyberg picks it up. So Flagler earning that ball back. That was good defense. Nice slide by Huntsville. Put it on the ground, but Flagler gets the fresh shot clock and the ball with Pilla. Around to Nyberg. Griffin Moore makes that right-handed sweep across the top. This time he goes down under to Douglas. Back to Pilla. Take shot wide. Tried that left-handed bounce shot just off the mark. Still plenty of time. 48 seconds on the shot clock as Luke Burton steps in. Working on that Pilla screen right at the goal line. Gets the switch off, so now they've got Burton on the short stick. Trying to create some space. Shoots, score! Luke Burton off of that big little switch to perfection, steps around the defender, and Flagler on the back of Luke Burton makes it 7-3. So you saw Luke Burton take the ball from behind. He had the long pull on him. When Pilla came down and set that screen, it was a little bit of a pick and roll, and the defender had to switch off. So once Burton had the short stick matchup, took advantage, the rest of his teammates cleared out to create space, and Burton made him pay. Coleman wins the faceoff, so Huntsville has the ball. 9.5 minutes to go in the first half. Ford up top to Klosterman. Fabrizio under pressure from Lyles. Gotta watch that free hand. Now he gets through the screen. There's the switch off shot, side of the net. Ball stays with Huntsville. 42 on the shot clock. See Nobles out there now. There's Henninger. Fabrizio. They're coming early to him. Trying to get around the top side. Good pressure from Hoosier, but a shot and a score! One dodge, two dodge, and a re-dodge, and Fabrizio rolls off of the pressure from Hoosier and makes it 7-4. Pete Fabrizio lost his defender, forced the switch, got the short stick, just kept pivoting and backing him down, and just rolled back underneath with a strong finish past Stevens. And the Chargers answer back. Matriga and Coleman. Ground ball. It's Flagler's. That's Ogden. Gordon Ogden to McDonald. He shoots it high and over the cage. Great ground ball by Ogden off of that face-off win from Matriga. And McDonald just demanding that the Chargers pay attention to him. That's going to be in the back of their mind that he's not afraid to shoot from distance with that left hand. Garrett Moore drawing the long pole, working off of that screen from Carter. Now he's got the switch off. Carter. Over to Leonard. Leonard feeds to the backside. Shot, score! Leonard to McDonald on the cross crease pass. And Trace McDonald with an easy layup. And Flagler answers back and doubles up Huntsville. It's 8-4 with 7:54 to go. So we're seeing some good offensive production out of that third midfield line that time. Garrett Moore along with Carter and Leonard. Great look, drew the pressure, found McDonald posted up. And we've seen Huntsville going early on these slides, and that skip-through pass is going to be open. So that's a violation against Coleman. So it's going to be a face-off win for Flagler. Bateman, joined by Bo Howard and D'Ambrosi. Waiting for Dylan Wilson. He steps on as McDonald sets up the offense. D'Ambrosi setting up the long dodge on the short pole. The lightning call from the bench, which I assume is come early. Got to help that short stick out. Flagler's done a nice job attacking the short stick middies. This time, it's Bo Howard on the short stick. Help comes very early. Got to look for that backside skip when that happens. Wilson couldn't handle that. Can Flagler keep it over? Nope, it's an over and back call. So look for a quick restart. Fabrizio. Don't see him operating up near the midfield line too often. He was up there working for that ground ball. Ford's going to carry, covered by Scheckenbach. He likes to throw those checks, not just run with his guy. There's a switch off. Flagler, unsettled shot, went low. The goalie went down, and the ball bounced over the cage. So Huntsville maintains possession. Aiello. Grusholt throwing the checks, trying to get the lift. Working it back up top to Craig. Overplaying that right hand. Now here comes Ford. Hughes going to carry it behind to Fabrizio. There's a shot, save by Stevens. Shot around that defender, and Stevens with a good late reaction around that screen And Grusholt comes up with the ground ball. Got 11 seconds to get it across. Just got to race it across at this point. Attack the midfield line. There it is. Nice aggressive clear for Flagler. Ian Plott. Been out there a lot today at X. Over to Douglas. 5:25 to go in the first half. Flip to Griffin Moore. The speedy Griffin Moore carries the short stick. Got to watch that free hand. Back to Axe. Plott initiates the offense. Well defended by Galinsky. Back across to Burton. Here's Pilla. Keep an eye on Douglas. Douglas is getting some separation. Number 60 on the crease. Pilla. Shot, score! Takes it himself. Pilla and Douglas were doing a nice little cat and mouse to make sure that Douglas, off ball, was dragging his defender and keeping him from sliding, which opened up that space for Pilla. Beat his man, no help. So although Douglas won't get an assist on that, that was picture perfect off-ball play to drag his defender away, prevent him from sliding, opening up the room, and Pilla answers, and Flagler's up 9-4. One of those little unnoticed plays in lacrosse is the off-ball play. Don't put your defender in a position to slide. That's the rule there. Matrega and Thomas this time. Matrega in white, Thomas in blue. And that's a violation against Thomas, so Matrega with the face-off win. Bateman will step in to bring the ball back into play. Leonard's out there with Carter. Joined by Garrett Moore, and Moore can't keep it in bounds, so just sloppiness. That's got to be disappointing. It's game 12 in the season. You're 10-1. Uncontested exchanges. Oh, nice ride. And Plott causes that turnover as number 17, Ian Plott, pushed him out of bounds. So Flagler back on offense. Second chance offense. And Huntsville's been bitten by the turnover bug all season, and you just cannot get that close to the sideline. Now here comes Flagler. They come up with it. Wow. Little sloppy from both teams here this late in the season, especially here in the first half. Nobody should be tired at this point. Here's Carter. Over to Leonard. Leonard back to the right hand. Looking for that cross crease again. Up top, passing lane protected, and it's a contested ground ball. And Flagler somehow came up with that. Utz was fighting for it. Back behind, 30 seconds on the shot clock. Douglas controls. Tried that cross crease feed, and Flagler can't connect, and the ball goes out of bounds. So stop for the Chargers. Trying to locate a lacrosse ball. I'm sure there's a couple hundred around here somewhere. Just not convenient to restart. Maybe those Flagler guys just wanted a little bit of breath there, catch their breaths on the sideline. McDonald throwing the checks, but nice job by Alabama Huntsville to clear it. Doran caught some good stick handling at the midfield line. Klosterman back across to Henninger. There's Klosterman, shot, save with the split save by Stevens. Nice job by Lyles to grab that low pass. And Vinorski involved in the clear. Just trying to muscle through. Across the midfield line. Ball is loose. Flagler comes up with it. Would not be surprised to see a timeout if they get it in the box. They've got plenty of time. Good patient work And there's that timeout. Predicted that one. You get unsettled. You've got a 5-goal lead. This possession's important to regroup. So Coach Duncan and the Flagler Saints call a timeout, leading 9-4. Flagler over Alabama Huntsville with 2:28 remaining in the half. 2:28 remaining in the first half here in St. Augustine, Florida. Windy, sunny, beautiful day. The Flagler Saints lead Alabama Huntsville by a score of 9-4 in this Peach Belt Conference game to dictate seeding for the Peach Belt Conference playoffs. Dylan Wilson to Ian Plott. Working on that screen. Gets underneath. Back to Burton. Spins it up top. That's Bo Howard. Around to McDonald. Watch how early they switch off here, and they do. Feed backside. Howard couldn't handle it. It's Huntsville ball. Peer under pressure behind the goal. Plott on Peer. Throws a check, but nice job by Golinsky to control that one. He's got some nifty stick handling skills. Big number 19 in blue. Nate Burt is going to reset the offense. Off to Hillman. Hillman and Kelly. Hillman on Hoosier. Back to Kelly. Joined by Craig. Kelly down that right alley. Nice little shove off the line, and ball goes out of bounds. So give credit to that Flagler defense. Didn't have to throw any big, giant checks on that. Just a little shove from the front. Disrupting it is Watson. Forces that turnover. Lyles around the near side. Now here's McDonald. We're at 45 seconds to go. McDonald racing towards that goal line. A true two-handed player. Head always up. Can score, can shoot. 19 and 24. 19 goals and 24 assists coming into the game. Adding to that total today. 20 seconds. So here's McDonald, working for that last shot. Gets around front, feeds to the backside, Burton shot, score! McDonald draws the crowd, skips it across to Burton, and Flagler extends their lead with 11 seconds to go. Flagler very patient, setting up that short time shot. McDonald runs through two defenders, all the crowd joins around number 6. And Luke Burton's the beneficiary with a time-space right-handed shot deflected off the goalie Pierce. Matrega and Coleman out there for this face-off. We've seen goals off the face-off in under 5 seconds, so see if anyone can push it forward. And Flagler comes up with it. 6 seconds. Oh, you want to just step into that one. And that one is through the uprights. If there were a football goal here, it was high and wide, but Flagler wins the face-off and runs out the clock here on the first quarter. From St. Augustine, our halftime score is Flagler 10, Alabama Huntsville 4. Welcome back for the start of the second half here in St. Augustine, Florida. Flagler 10, Alabama Huntsville 4 in a Peach Belt Conference matchup. I am Ray Carnicelli. Follow me on X at Lax904. Ongoing battle at the face-off spot. Matrega pushes it into the offensive end, still loose. Initial possession goes to Alabama Huntsville, and they come up with it. Fabrizio unable to handle that pass. The pressure's still coming. Grusholt comes up with it. No break, no break. Now there's a trailer. It's a 6-on-5. And Huntsville hustles back to recover. Douglas uncovered. Works it back behind to Nyberg. Feed to the middle, shot. Fans on it. Grusholt behind the back pass. Shot off the post. What a great behind the back pass by Grusholt. Off the post. Flagler with a fresh shot clock. Douglas controls. Pilla, shot, score! Jack Pilla lets loose from about 14 yards out with a sidearm shot past Pierce. And Flagler extends their lead here 1 minute and 10 seconds into quarter number 3. So we've got a goalie change, as is typical for Flagler. Number 0, Wade Lamont, steps in white for Flagler. Comes into the season with a 51% save percentage and just over 8 goals against average. Both Stevens and Lamont under 9 on the goals against, which is tremendous. Matrego wins it forward into the offensive end, spins away. So Flagler playing a little make it, take it here to start the second half. Bateman to Howard. Around to Nyberg. Dylan Wilson brings it up. Over to D'Ambrosi. D'Ambrosi's got that short stick matchup. Decides to redirect it to Burton. Now Burton controls behind the cage. Pushing that left goal line. Nyberg gets underneath. They got the defense moving. Around to Burton. 30 on the shot clock. Up to Wilson. Great patience shown. Getting the double. Redirect. Nyberg low angle riser goes wide. 21 seconds on the shot clock. The Chargers are coming so early to McDonald right now, and he does such a nice job of moving the ball on that redirect. So keep an eye on when that second blue defender comes on ball. Bo Howard. Let them count down the shot clock for you. And now it's a late force. Long looping outlet pass. Somehow stayed in bounds. Now they're going to say he stepped out. So turnover for the Chargers in the clearing game. And Flagler will take back over just shy of the midfield line as Dylan Wilson joined down the midfield line by Douglas. Now here comes Burton. Burton's got this attacking mentality on the long pole. Now he gets to switch off. So we've seen them take advantage of it. Let's see if Burton can keep the short stick and take advantage of it like we saw him early. Take it to X. Now there's a down low look to Douglas. Contact right in front of the referee. No whistle. We've got it. That was appeared to be a little late and a little high, but there's no flags down unless one of the other referees comes over and call it, because it was right in front of the referee. So Douglas is down. Douglas gets help from his teammates, McDonald and Nyberg. assisting him coming off. He took that hit a little high and a little late, but no call. So the ball is going to be brought back into play by Tommy Peer, the goalie for Alabama Huntsville. Coffee controls. Back to Peer. Here comes Klosterman. He carries it across, so successful clear, but doesn't mean the pressure's over. Klosterman. Now to Henninger. Down that far side is Klosterman. Runs through two Flagler defenders. Ford gets to the front, shot, score! Power move by Ford to get to the front, goes high to low past Lamone, and Alabama Huntsville fighting back, trailing 11-5. So they're going to say it's a face-off win for Matrega off of the Coleman hold, kind of restricting Matrega's movement with the free arm. Checks are coming in, but Bateman initially outruns it, powers into the box, touches it in, and then didn't know if a timeout was coming, but he was able to get it to Howard. So Howard's got the short stick matchup this time from the wide wing. Bo Howard pushes that right goal line, flips it up top to Wilson. Wilson pressures, cradling away, gets his feet back. Wraparound check, and now the flag comes. This is usually a hold if it's not a slash. If you try that wraparound check and you hold it a little too long and restrict his movement, they'll call a hold. So let's see what Jody Tyser, the referee, calls here. Yep, hold. So once you have that wraparound check, if you hold them and don't just land the check and pull it away, they'll call that for restricting his movement. So a 30-second man-up opportunity for Flagler. They've got a 6-goal lead, 11-5. So Flagler's man up. Starting open with Douglas. Back up top to Wilson. Nyberg. And Howard. Douglas on the crease. Popping and moving. There's a hitch. Feed to Douglas. Backhanded shot. Score! McDonald to Douglas. Had his back to the cage. We used to call that the Mohican. Have your back to the cage and just spin that backhand shot. Tyler Douglas. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Flagler up 12-5. So I know that Douglas, we're going to have to double check the stats, but I know he's approaching his career 100th goal. We're getting very close, within one or two if we haven't reached already, so we're going to double check. That's a face-off win. Nice job for Coleman. Working to the front, sails a pass high on that cross crease look, and it's going to be a wind-aided out-of-bounds pass. Wind is gusting across the field today. Grusholt with a long looping pass on the money to Scheckenbach. Back to Bo Howard. Scheckenbach's going to run down towards the goal and at least occupy a defender. D'Ambrosi off that Scheckenbach screen. They're going to have some room out of the box here. Wilson has room, but they're just going to slow it down. So now McDonald under heavy pressure behind the goal, pressing out. McDonald protecting his stick. Skips it to D'Ambrosi. Splits back to his left to McDonald. Over to Wilson. Wilson shot wide. Burton's there to back it up. Oh, they did get the reset. Full 60 here, so opportunity for Flagler to patiently run their offense. Burton and D'Ambrosi. Over to Howard. To Nyberg. Back to McDonald. Backhanded shot. Outside, it's on the side of the net. Oh no, they didn't say it was in. McDonald with the goal, back-to-back backhanded shots. Trace McDonald with another highlight goal for Flagler. Hard to keep up with these guys. The reaction from the goalie, the defenders, the other attackmen, they all froze. Nobody celebrated, and then the referee realized it trickled past the goal line, and it's 13-5, Flagler College. Push forward, contested ground ball, almost pushed directly back to Lynch. Good legal push from the front. Physical play here, and the Chargers come up with it. Fabrizio had a look at the goal, opted for the pass, and they throw it out of bounds. So it's going to stay, or excuse me, it's going to be turned over to Flagler. Vinorski up to Hoosier. Hoosier across the midfield line. Boy, what a goal from Trace McDonald. Following that, Douglas Mohican backhanded shot from McDonald, and these shots are coming from all kinds of angles. 13-5, Flagler on top. Carter controls. Garrett Moore. Garrett Moore likes this matchup. Little hop step. Back to the right hand. Gets free. Shot. Save. Ball deflects straight up in the air. Out of bounds. It's going to be Flagler ball. Burton did a nice job playing that bounce. 60 on the shot clock. Garrett Moore doing that hop step again. Now he goes underneath this time. Under pressure. Carter. A little pressure. Carter comes up with it. Back to McDonald. Good stick protection. Rolls back. Dishes it off. Up top to Carter. Shot wide. McDonald took a little beating there on that possession. 30 on the shot clock as Burton's going to bring it in from behind. Feet of the crease. Back up top, I should say. Shot, score from way out. Garrett Moore. Burton to Moore. This time it was Garrett Moore from way out. And we've got a goalie change for Alabama Huntsville. Pierre was taking a little bit of abuse there. The shots just keep coming and coming. And now we have Sander in the goal. So goalie change. Flagler chases Pierre out. Sander comes in. $14-5. As I mentioned earlier, last year's game, it was 17-15 here in St. Augustine. Alabama Huntsville on top. Ogden, some nifty stick handling, now gets it checked away into the corner, and it's going to be Huntsville ball on the ride. So good pressure. So now we have a new goalie in, Sander. We'll see how involved he is in the clearing game. If you're Flagler, you want to turn them back right now. You can hear pushing towards the sideline. Nice job by Kelly. One-man wrecking crew on that clear. Flagler's unable to reap the benefits of that caused turnover. And now we have a timeout by the Alabama Huntsville Chargers With 6:08 to go in quarter number 3, our score from St. Augustine, Florida is Flagler College 14, Alabama Huntsville 5. Back to the action here with 6:08 remaining in the third quarter with Flagler on top of Huntsville 14-5. We've got 3 Saints approaching milestones. We'll double check how close they are, but Trace McDonald came into the game just needing a couple of points for his 100th career point. And that's a turnover, and it's Flagler's ball. If Coach Brian Duncan and the Flagler Saints hold on for this win, it will be his 100th win as a college head coach between his time at Essex Community College and here at Flagler. And then Tyler Douglas was approaching the 100 mark in goals, so he's been he's within 1 or 2 of his 100th. So that's 3 Century Club marks between McDonald, Douglas, and Coach Duncan. Flagler on offense with a commanding lead. Griffin Moore. Moore gets the switch, draws a double, and there's one more pass. Couldn't connect as Douglas was sneaking around the back door. Goes out of bounds. Huntsville ball. There's the goalie, Sander, his first time running the set clear. They're going to let him go towards the midfield line. Now pressure comes, gets it across. Roush gets a touch in, and hear that slow call as the Chargers set up their offense. Nobles. Now it's Henninger. Hillman. Hillman. Grusholt switches off to Hillman. And the Henninger. Back to Klosterman. Klosterman takes some contact. He gets some room. Low angle shot. Save! Wade Lamone gets his first save of the afternoon. Ball is possessed by Ford behind the goal. Back to Kelly. Shot, score! Goal by Klosterman. He got to the front of the goal, and he didn't look like he wanted to shoot. Slow motion, found himself all alone, and Klosterman gets the Chargers back on the board. So Klosterman just outran the defense, found himself in midair, wide open in front of the goal, throws it past Lamont. Matrego and Coleman back out there for the face-off. 3:55 to go in the third. 14-6 is our score. Coleman pops it out towards the wing, towards the sideline. Ogden picks it up, saves it, keeps it in bounds, and now he lets one go, and that's just a gimme. Not a great take by Ogden. He had options, they had numbers. Basically a turnover on that shot from Ogden. I guess with an 8-goal lead, you can take that chance, but rather have the ball or one of those other options. Chargers with the ball. Ford controls, pushing that left goal line. Pressure coming. Back around, up top to Henninger. Henninger likes his left hand, works his way back behind. Henninger feeds up top, shot, save Lamont. Ground ball picked out of the air. Obloj with a nice job corralling that rebound. Lamont finds Bo Howard out of the substitution area. Upfield, Collins has it. Dishes it off to Burton. Back to Howard. Joined by D'Ambrosi. Howard. He's going to take his defender behind. Howard trying to get back to his left. Spins. Skip pass up top. Wilson to Plot. One more shot. It's wide as Luke Burton from a low angle sails it wide. Still 28 seconds on the shot clock. 2 minutes and 5 seconds remain in the third quarter. The junior Howard, 16 in white. Up top to Nyberg. Working it across to Plot. Feeds back, and that one's going to go out of bounds. So just a ill-advised pass. Nobody in the vicinity. And turnover for Flagler. So that's a couple of possessions where Flagler's just wasted with no good looks at the cage. Here comes Sander. Good looking outlet pass. That's Nobles. Nobles into the offensive end. Under pressure from Vynorski. Nobles gets through. Works it back behind. Going to try to take advantage of this short stick matchup behind the cage. That's Hillman. Haven't heard much from Fabrizio here in the second half. Prolific goal scorer, number 9 in blue. Keep an eye on him. Barocas, covered by Hoosier. Oh, that's a forced pass. Way too close for comfort. Defender was right there, but Chargers were able to come up with it. Less than 20 on the shot clock. Hillman off the screen. Lots of contact, and Flagler comes up with it. Watson to Hoosier. Hoosier on the 4-on-3. They're closing fast, but Hoosier gets a step. Give go, skip to the far side. There's Plot, one more in front. Nyberg, shot, save! Nyberg found himself in front of the goal again. Now here's another look. Douglas, twister shot, score! Douglas caught it, racing towards the cage. Got the cross-handed twister. And Flagler with some high-flying heroics. Try to get the assist on that. Things were moving pretty fast. Ian Plott was the one who drifted that pass back towards the middle and the finish. That was about a 8-pass string from the Flagler Saints. That ball movement was impressive. Goalie's going to have to get treated for whiplash, head whipping around. There's a ground ball, picked up by Bateman, loses his defender. Now Flagler has numbers. It's a 5-on-4 if they can hurry. The ball is on the ground again. It's going to be Flagler ball. 3 seconds. Shot. Score! See if they count it. Paul Cicio's shaking his head yes. Short time goal. I took a look at the referee right away, and he was nodding in the affirmative. This goal is going to count. It was almost, I think they said 3 seconds when that ball was up towards the midfield line. So Ben Nyberg with the goal as time expired, and that's got to be disheartening for Alabama Huntsville. They now trail 16-6 as we're between the third and fourth quarter from St. Augustine. We'll be back in a moment. There's the face-off. It's picked up by Coleman. Quickly hits the point man. Shot, score! 3 seconds into the quarter off the face-off. And Alabama Huntsville, quick strike, not giving up yet. So Hillman with the goal. Coleman won that face-off, raced up. Hillman finishes, and here comes Coleman one more time. Flagler in a little better position. And now look for a lot of early offense from the Chargers as they try to battle their way back. It's a 9-goal Flagler lead early in the fourth quarter. And that's a possession timeout for Huntsville. You typically don't want to use those this early in the fourth quarter, but every possession counts as you try to crawl out of this 9-goal hole. 14:36 to go in Q4. Flagler 16, Alabama Huntsville 7. Pete Fabrizio, number 9 in blue, will start with the ball. working his way, trying to get underneath. Lyles putting the pressure on. Ball is on the ground. Klosterman fights for it. Ball is loose. Picked up. Here's a chance. Shot, score! Fabrizio. So following that timeout to maintain possession, the Chargers stumble and bumble a little bit, put the ball on the ground, but opportunistic ground ball, and Fabrizio, the dangerous one in front of the goal, scores the 8th goal of the afternoon for the Huntsville Chargers, 16-8. Hunter Coleman's heating up at the face-off spot as well for Alabama Huntsville. Keep an eye on number 7. This time it's going to be Mitchell Lynch for Flagler. But it's Coleman once again. Hits the point man. Second pass. Couldn't handle it. That was a chance. Great chance for Huntsville. Lyles comes up with it. Back up top to Collins. To Howard. Now we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how aggressive Flagler is here if they try to take some time off the clock. Clock is their friend at this point, but their nature is to keep the foot on the gas. I would be surprised if they went too hard with more than 30 seconds on the shot clock. But here comes D'Ambrosi. Looks like they're just playing their normal offense right now. There's no intention to slow it down from what I see. Here's Ian Plott. He's got a look. McDonald couldn't handle it initially. Nifty ground ball. Back across to Howard. Howard back through X. That's Plott. Feeds to the crease. Shot. Save. Nyberg with the shot. Sander with the save. Nyberg backed up his own shot. Now he's going to bring it back in. Good chance on the crease, but Sanders slams the door shut on that one. Now it's D'Ambrosi setting up the long dodge. Back around to Dylan Wilson. He's going to have a run at Burt. Now he dishes it back to Plott. A little crowded on the crease right now. Packing it in. There's Howard. Likes this matchup. 3 blue shirts. Saved by Sander once again. It's going to be backed up by the Chargers. So a save and a possession to Huntsville. So they're doing what they need to do. Making stops on defense. Winning the ball back. And converting on offense. So Sander carries it up. Long looping pass. Ford's there to get it. So Ford's got a short stick on him right now. Ford carries through X. Gets to the front. Shot high. Backed up by the Chargers. 52 on the shot clock. 12:08 on the game clock. 16-8. Flagler on top. ILO. He gets to the front. Shot. Looks like he stepped in the crease. Let's see. Yep, crease violation. Lamone. Back to Lyles. Garrett Moore. Got a man up forward. Carter's in. Carter with the ball. Joined by Leonard. And Garrett Moore. That's this midfield unit. So now Garrett Moore. They bump the pole over to Garrett Moore. Back behind to Ian Plott. Plott covered by Coffey. Around to Carter. Back to Leonard. Leonard off the screen. Got the switch up. So now Moore's got the short stick. Now they reset and regroup. Bump that short stick. Now here comes McDonald. He's got to like this matchup. They want to get out of his way. Let him take advantage of that short stick matchup. He bumps it around. Back to Garrett Moore. Sweeps across. Slips. 20 on the shot clock. There's the double team. Well timed. Ball is in the air. Would not be surprised if Flagler calls a timeout if they come up with this one. So it's going to be a loose ball push against Flagler. So it's going to be Chargers ball. 10:46 to go. and they can't handle a simple exchange on the clear. Goes out of bounds, so unforced error, that's a turnover. Dorencott couldn't reel that slightly high pass in. So now Flagler has the opportunity to take some more time off the clock. Here's Grand. Grand carries through, maintains possession. Back to McDonald. So McDonald's going to slow it down. 45 on the shot clock, and as you can see, they're in no hurry, so there's a goalie change for Flagler. Jonah Smith is now in. McDonald just taking the clock down now. So with the goalie change, seeing some new players out there for Flagler, they're definitely in eating the clock mode. Don't want to pressure him too much. He can create an early slide, and Grand can't handle that pass. There's a flag down, so that was a free possession for Flagler. I did not see that flag down. It's an interference call. That should be a 30-second penalty against Huntsville. Yep, so that's similar to a moving pick, just restricting somebody's motion. So a 30-second extra man opportunity for Flagler with 9:36 to go in the game and an 8-goal lead. Douglas to Nyberg to Howard. Back to Nyberg up top, running that point from the front. 2 men down low. Finds a cutter. Nyberg tries to make the highlight reel, shoots it wide. Burton's there to back it up. Burton steps on. 14 in the penalty. A little more sense of urgency in the extra man as McDonald carries his defender across. Douglas cuts through, couldn't handle it. There's still 30 on the shot clock. They're all even, but plenty of time. They don't need to rush it here. 25 on the shot clock with an 8-goal lead. Work for the good shot. There's Wilson. Spins back, redirects to McDonald. Finds a cutter. Douglas, hands-free shot, picks the corner. McDonald to Douglas with the goal. If I'm ever not sure who scores, I could either say McDonald or Douglas, and who got the assist, either McDonald or Douglas. I'm going to be right more times than not. That time it was McDonald to Douglas, but what a catch, what a handle, and he stung the corner, did Douglas. Historic day as Douglas, McDonald, and Coach Duncan are all approaching, may have already reached the century mark on some of these stats between points and goals and wins. So big day here on a beautiful day in St. Augustine, Florida. If you're listening out there, follow me on X. Drop me a note or comment at Lax904. One of the bright spots for Huntsville today has been Coleman at the faceoff spot. And he comes up with the ground ball, does a nice job trying to redirect it. But Flagler's there. Boy, you'd like to see him slow it down a little bit, but that's just not their style, and it works for them. Vinarski came up with that ground ball. Their style is play fast, and they've got a lead, and they've got time, so lots of lacrosse left in their season, things they want to work on and tighten up. Flagler's starting to run through some new players. Klosterman, back to Ford. Ford trying to run down that right alley. Pressure's coming in, working it back behind. Aiello around to Craig. Here's Klosterman. Klosterman's got a look. Shot, score! High bounce shot. Gets it past Jonah Smith. And there's no giving up here for the Alabama Huntsville Chargers as they keep plugging away. They're making the most of the face-offs. They're contributing on offense. 8-goal lead for Flagler. That's a face-off win for Lynch. Lynch hits the point man. Flag down, free possession for Flagler. Would not be shocked if they take the whole remaining 70 seconds down. 7:25 to go. There's Bo Howard over to D'Ambrosi and Dylan Wilson. Berkman controls. Berkman rolls back to his left, sticking his left hand, moves it one more to D'Ambrosi, across to Howard. Howard surveys, feeds down low, backhanded attempt, saved by Sander. The check came in on Dylan Wilson just as he shot it, so Sander was able to reel in a pretty easy, slower save, but no harm for Flagler as they've got an extra man opportunity. Okay, so that's an unnecessary roughness call. And Flagler's going to be able to take an entire minute down here. It was Nate Burt on the penalty for unnecessary roughness. So it looks like Flagler's keeping their regular offense in. This is not their man-up unit. Wilson to Berkman. Latanzio to Berkman. Back up top to Wilson. There's Howard. No imperative to even think about shooting. There's only 33 seconds on the shot clock. There's D'Ambrosi. Berkman. Latanzio. Under 20 on the shot clock. Wilson draws the defender out. Skip pass across. It's deflected off of blue. And it goes out of bounds. 10 seconds on the shot clock. And the penalty. 5:58 in the game. Latanzio. There's a feed to the crease. Ball is on the ground. Shot high and wide. Good look from Berkman. Sails it over the goal just before the shot clock expired. So that was a 1-minute penalty kill for Huntsville, but just as importantly, Flagler was able to take an entire minute off the clock. 5:40 to go in the game. Here come the Chargers. Fabrizio over to Klosterman, joined by Craig. Klosterman's going to carry, covered by Hoosier. Klosterman running down the left alley, fakes a feed to Fabrizio, keeps it, ball scoots free, and Flagler comes up with it. Up and over. Ball is loose. Fabrizio, unsettled situation. Flagler's in a dangerous spot as Klosterman's free. Defense is unorganized. There's a flag down. Time, space, shot, deflected. Ball is still in play. Delayed penalty. Free possession for Huntsville. Backdoor sneak shot, sails it high and wide. So that's going to be a 1-minute slashing penalty against Flagler. 8-goal lead for the Saints. 17-9 with 4:24 to go. Alabama Huntsville will have a 1-minute extra man opportunity. Brendan Watson in the penalty box for that slash. Burt can't handle it. Ball is loose. Come back up with it. Aiello from the front. We've got a second flag down and a man down. There's a shot. And we've got a injured Alabama Huntsville player, so it's going to be a 1-minute slashing penalty against Grusholt. So 2 men down. 39 seconds left in the first penalty. That was a 1-minute slash against Grusholt. There's still 39 seconds left in the first penalty, so a 2-man down opportunity. There's Burt. Back across to Aiello. Feeds to the backside. Ball is loose. Scheckenbach comes up with the ground ball. Races away from pressure. Look for them to double team the ball. Scheckenbach rolls away from pressure. You just want to get it to the other end at this point. Fight for that ground ball on the offensive end and get your timeout. See if they get it in the box and call a timeout. So interference call against White. It's going to be a change of possession. Blue has 7 seconds in the first penalty, 26 in the second. There's Ford. On the doorstep, Fabrizio, shot, score! Cannot leave number 9 open. 2 men down. Disorganization by the Flagler defense. And that's the 10th goal for Alabama Huntsville. 17-10 with 3:23 to go. Austin Combs out there for the faceoff now for Flagler. Mitchell Lynch having a great day. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Hunter Coleman. Mitchell's done well as well. But Hunter Coleman, number 7 in blue. Collins. Ball pushed forward and was free, but Huntsville was there to pick it up. Robbins working it back to Fabrizio. Covered by Lyles. Lyles has done a nice job. A lot of the offense from Fabrizio has been in unsettled situations. Henniger powers his way through, draws the slide. Ball is loose behind the goal. Aiello couldn't handle it initially. Pressure on the goal line. Ball is loose, picked up, shot off the post. Henninger was wide open, caught that ground ball out of midair, raced around and hit the post. There's Aiello. Shot, score by number 41, Hughes. So Alabama Huntsville just keeps fighting. They're not going down without a fight. It's a 6-goal game with 2:33 to go. And this time it's Mitchell Lynch coming in for the faceoff for Flagler. Can't give over those free possessions off the faceoff because Hunter Coleman's having an afternoon for himself. This is an important possession for both teams. If Flagler can get it, they can kind of start to ice this game. But Coleman into the offensive end. Bounce pass to the point man, Hillman. Under 2:30 to go. No time to waste for the Chargers. Look for them to push the offense. Klosterman. They bump the pole up to Klosterman. Klosterman down the left alley. Working it back behind. Feed to the near side. That's Ford. Ford gets his hands free. Shot over the goal. A lot of trust in some of these reserves for Flagler here. And it's crunch time. 2 minutes to go. 6-goal lead. We've got a new goalie in. We've got some new defenders in. And no mercy from the Chargers. There's a feed. Nice handle. Shot. Fabrizio just wide. Boy, he is talented. Caught that one in traffic. Was able to retrieve it. Switch hands. Here comes the restart for Hillman. Working off of that screen. Marked by Scheckenbach. Hillman. Back through X. Controlled by Ford. Ford's got the short stick. Trying to get over the top. See if Grusholt comes. There's Fabrizio. Where's the help? Fabrizio, low angle shot, save! What a save, and biggest one of his season so far, and what a handle by Grusholt just to keep that one in play. Now here comes Grusholt. Will they push it or will they run out the clock? There's that behind the back pass. Shot. Deflected, goes wide, goes out of bounds. Boy, I don't like that shot though. With a minute left, you could basically run out the game. And here comes Alabama Huntsville. 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go. 17-11. Flagler on top. Barocas. It's a race to the sideline. Might have been a crease violation. Let's see. Okay, and I like that timeout by Coach Duncan and the Flagler staff. Flagler was trying to substitute. The Chargers were trying to get a quick restart following that shot and race to the sideline. So with 49 seconds left, Flagler's in a great position to come away with their 11th win on the season, only loss to number 1 Tampa, and their first win in Peach Belt Conference play. Following that defensive timeout by the Flagler Saints, Huntsville will start with the ball. 50 seconds remaining in the game. 17-11 is the score. Flagler on top. Craig's going to have a run down that right alley. They don't have time to spare. Craig back to the front. Will he take that left hand through the triple team? Great defensive help by Flagler. Collins comes up with the ground ball. And long looping pass up towards the midfield line. Great clear. Just got to get out of trouble at this point as Leonard can run out the clock. Flagler assuming the victory formation. That's Leonard with the ball. 5 seconds to go. Leonard just taking it for a walk. And that's it. Flagler goes to 11-1, 1-0 in the Peach Belt. Our final score from St. Augustine, Flagler 17, Alabama Huntsville 11. I am Ray Carnicelli at Lax904 on X. Have a great day.